The Christmas Truce by Molly Mason. I crouched down, head bowed slightly, gun clutched tightly to my chest. The fog from the early morning mixed with the smoke of the grenades and shells being thrown into the approaching British army makes it hard to see, but at least that means the British can see well either. I breathe in heavily, mustering up the courage to attack. Even after 2 months at war, the very idea of killing someone, no matter how dangerous they may be, makes me want to puke. I shut down my emotions and load my gun, hoping that any unknown soldiers I kill will be buried with dignity. The roaring noise of gunfire and grenades has become a never-ending symphony in my head. I watch over no man's land as hundreds of soldiers lay dead in the fields, bullets and shells raining down upon us. All I can think is why? Why are we fighting this war when we are getting nowhere? Why are we suddenly enemies with half of Europe? There is less than 100 meters between us and the Brits, yet I have never felt more alone. I look up to the heavens, praying that any supposed god up there will end this seemingly infinite war. Even then, I suppose I should be grateful. As we approach the first snowfall of the year, we are much better prepared for a cold winter than the Brits. Some of the places in the trenches have concrete and electricity, and even though the conditions are worse than the army barracks back home, we are pretty comfortable here. Christmas Eve dawns, grey mist swirling around the trees and water trickling down into the trenches. The only difference is the lack of gunfire from the British. Is it an unsaid truce or a false trap made to lure us into a false sense of security? Our guns remain silent too, blanketing us in a strange world. The only sounds present left are the stomping of footsteps and the murmur of voices. We take the opportunity to set up lanterns along the parapet, a way to remind us of home, of setting up the Christmas tree with family and friends, exchanging gifts and laughing the night away. A reminder of the time before and the possibility of the time after. As night falls down around us, with it comes a blanket of courage, giving us the confidence we would never have in the vulnerable light of day. We gather around, intent to keep our Christmas spirit alive. One man begins the familiar lines to Stille Nacht, floating through the air, and slowly, bit by bit, the rest of us join in. I feel the pressure, the unease of not knowing what the day will bring lifting off my shoulders. A brief reprieve in the constant sea of war and death. The last notes fade into the darkness and we remain silent, waiting for the same thing. Soon enough we hear a faint group of voices reach us. I recognize the tune, a popular song the Tommies would sing in London. Some of the officers know the song and before long we were singing in harmony with the very people we had been attacking mere hours ago. For the first time since the beginning of the war, I fall asleep with hope for tomorrow. Hope that maybe we aren't as distant as I once thought. Hope that we will come out the other side mended and forgiving. Christmas Day appears like any other normal day, but I feel I can sense a difference. The air seems lighter, more buoyant, as if it can sense the strange camaraderie we have built overnight. I poke my head over the parapet, gifts of cigarette and alcohol clutched in my hands instead of a gun. I raise my arms above my head, walking slowly forward with a group of other brave, foolish Germans like me. As we walk into no man's land, heads begin to pop up along the British trenches. They too come out, food and heads in their arms. We stop in the middle of no man's land and silently nod at one another. We know without speaking that today will be a day to bury and mourn our dead, socialize and relax from these few hard months at war. It won't last forever, nor will it likely happen again. But for today at least we can pretend we are anywhere but here. Consequences be damned.